All right, let's talk a little bit about how to mock up a website and what that might look like. So on here, on the assignment, we've got some tasks for you to complete. The first one is to kind of go through and do a competitive analysis, but the second is I want you to figure out what are all the pages you're going to have on your site. That might be something like home, about, contact, etc. We need that content to kind of build off of. Another thing we might want to play with a little bit later on is some lorem ipsum. There's different kinds of lorem ipsum, but we'll just use a standard lorem ipsum right here. This is just text filler we can type in so we don't have to come up with all our content right now. And we're also going to look at maybe getting some stock imagery. So let's say we're going to use a website and I want to, we'll do like a hotel room and grab this right here. Pexels is a great place to get some stock imagery from, a good place to start. Maybe, let's see what else I might want to use here. I want some imagery that's more horizontal. We could maybe take that one might work. Let's go look at like hotel, maybe pool. So we'll just make a website that has something to do with hotels. And let's see, hotel exterior, what that might look like. I don't know. Just say we're going to use this one. Might grab some more later on. Okay, so we got some imagery there. Next, we want to use Figma. Now, Figma is an application we often use in the industry to build mock-ups and designs for websites or apps or things like that. And we can use they have a free version, but if you're a student and you use your student ID, your .edu address, you can log in and get an education version, which is essentially the pro version but for free. And you can hit this get verified and it'll set you up an account. Now I've got my account set up here, and once you get in you'll see something that will look somewhat like this, and we just want to click on new design file. So we'll go ahead and do a new design, and it'll launch this area, and what we want to do next is just create an artboard. And you can see over here when I create the artboard tool, I could create an artboard for an iPhone 13, and you can see that's how big it would be, right, if it came up. And we could create, a desktop. Maybe we want to do a desktop layout or something there, and that's great too. I'm going to delete both of those, but let's specifically just drag it out. And if you look on the assignment, it's going to have you drag out a 1200 pixels wide by 1600 pixels tall. So let's come in here and we will make this 1200 pixels wide by 1600 pixels tall. And if you've used programs like Illustrator before, different things like that, we can there's keyboard shortcuts. So you can use spacebar, which will give you the hand tool to kind of move around your artboard that you're going to be designing on. You can do scroll up and down or whatever, but we can do a spacebar command on a Mac and zoom in, or a spacebar command and zoom out. And you can see that zoomed out there. Now you want to zoom in to 100% to really kind of see what your design is going to look like when it's being used on on a website or things like that. And so so we'll zoom out to kind of do some initial stuff, but probably zoom back in to work on the site. Let's start designing here. So we're going to just grab a rectangle here, and you can see we've got the color gray, and maybe we'll do a navigation bar there across the top. Now I'm going to zoom in again here, and that looks okay. And let's do another rectangle, and this will be maybe for a big old hero image. We could put right there. Okay, and I'm going to move that off to the side for right now. We're going to work on that here in a second. Let's take and let's import in one of those images we downloaded. So if I go over to File and Place Image, I can go grab one of those images that we downloaded. And so I'll grab grab this one here, and you can see we can place it now. Okay, and I'm going to drop it on top of that rectangle, and you can see how it cut it, to that size. Another thing we can do is we can place that image, and file, edit, place image, and I'm going to drop it on, but this time I'm just going to drop it below. You see how big that went, right? Well, I can zoom out, I can grab a corner. Now, what you want to do is hold down Shift so it kind of resizes, and then I'm going to just zoom back in here and size that down, holding again Shift till it gets to roughly the same size. And I'm going to move that image up right about there. So if you notice, this top section is not really showing up. Another thing I could do is I could take this rectangle and I could make it a little squishy, a little not so tall. And I'm going to put it right there, and you can see how they're on top of each other. Now, if you have the image on top and the rectangle behind, and you highlight both, and you can see both getting highlighted here, I can come up to this little button right here, and this is a mask. And you can mask this image. Oops. Click off it, and then I can move them together. And I can take this and place it back on my design. You can see here I have my rectangle. I'm going to take that rectangle and move it up above so it's on top. And then I think I'm also going to, I think it would look nice. Maybe we make it white like that, but then I'm going to take this opacity and let's go down to like 75% or something. So that kind of looks a little bit nicer there. Let's go get a logo now. I'm just going to go grab one hotel logo. I'll look for transparent logo. It's important to make sure you get like a PNG. I don't know. Let's use this one here. Again, for your companies or your projects, you're going to need to have your own logo. I'm just doing this for the sake of speeding up the project so you guys can see what a finished product might look like, or the process of putting this all together. So I've got a logo there. Let's go ahead and file, place image. And it's this logo right here. Okay, and you can see that's pretty big. May not be a bad idea to go through and cut it down to make sure I don't have anything else on there that I don't want. So I'm going to take both of those. I'm going to hold down Shift, select them both there, or I can select them both by highlighting them, and I'll just mask that so I know that the logo is just that now. Resize that down. I'm going to put that in here somewhere. Now, one thing we also might want to look at is on the assignment, we need to have a wrapper of 992. There's two ways of going about this. There's a full width and a box. And a box is where you're going to have sidebars over here. And a full is where like images will come out over the edges, or these white bars go edge to edge, and your navigation white bar kind of goes edge to edge. But your content lays within a wrapper. All right, and I kind of want to do that. So let's do another box. We're going to take that and create it. And I said that I want to see that as a width of 992. So we'll click on that, 992, and we'll take this and kind of put it down the center. And this is kind of like our guide on how wide our content should be. So that's not truly centered. We want to get that on there centered with the Artboard, and you can kind of see the little marker showing me where it's centered. That's probably the easiest way of centering it. I'm going to take that and let's just add, I'm going to make it black, so I'm going to do straight across zeros, and we'll make it like 10%. So you can kind of see where that goes, and we can fill content in there. So you can see my logo's hanging over the edge now. So we need to fix that. Now, just to make sure I don't have more problems, I don't actually grab this and move it, I'm going to take that, I'm going to move it down back into my frame, and I'm going to lock it. And that way now I can't grab it and I can't move it where I want. But I can still grab my logo, and I'm going to put my logo there, maybe a little bit down. Let's make a little navigation. So we'll take our type tool there, and I'll just write out a home, and let's resize that, whoops, to the size that we want. Okay, so I've got to take that and change the text size, and I don't know, let's go zoom in a little bit more. See, this is what it would look like normal size on my browser. Okay, and you can see like I have a little bit of white bar here, a little bit of white bar there, so that's probably a good thing to have. And our edge ends right about here, as you can kind of see. Okay, so I'm going to say we want to have a home, and if I hold down Alt, I can move another one and drag one off of it. And if I hit Command D, you can see how I'm just replicating that a few times. So I can do a home about reservation. Okay, so we got some problems here. We need to move these out a little bit more. We'll do some space in here a little bit. Want to contact, maybe a shop. I don't know. Let's delete this last one. I'll put contact here up against the edge. There. Right about there. You can see how it's automatically spaced some 26 pixels across, right? And kind of doing that. So that's one little trick you can do. You can do some other stuff where you can click multiple items, and we can distribute on a horizontal phase. Whoops, sorry. Distribute horizontally. Well, I think it is there. So, and home in this case, I think is you know, a different color. I'm going to go eyedrop maybe this color here, and that might look nice. And maybe we take these black, and we could go through and we could eyedrop that yellow. Oh, that looks kind of bad. Maybe if we took this white bar and rather than being white, we made it black. That might look a little bit better. And then let's take that opacity. Let's go down to 50. Let's keep going down to 30. That's still pretty. I don't know if I like that. Maybe we do another color. I'm going to hit Command V to go back. I'm going to make these not yellow, but we'll make them like a dark gray, something like that. I think that might a little nicer. I'm going to select all these. I think I'm going to also make them like a semi-bold. I think that might look a little stronger there. And our home is definitely looking a little bit different than the others. You know, we could do like a hover over the top and make this button a different color. You know, if we wanted to, maybe do something like that. Maybe we draw a rectangle here, and maybe this is our black I was just doing, and give it a transparency of 30%. Need to bring that kind of over the top to kind of show that we're currently on the home. I think I need to do some vertical centering too with these items. I don't think they look exactly right. Oops. Now one thing you can do is you can use the layers over here to the side, holding down Shift or Command or things like that, and kind of move things around. So you can see I'm resizing those. Zoom out. I actually don't know if I really like that background. I'm going to take that off. I don't like that as much. All right, next thing to our website, we'll do, maybe let's do another box. I'm going to bring down, let's do this. I'm going to grab our big rectangle I've got locked, and you can see, I think we've got a lot of the stuff up above finished. I'm going to take this right now and drop it here, and I'm going to put another box behind everything. Just so I can kind of see some different colors. Let's make that like a very light gray. I'm going to move that behind everything. Okay, so there is a gray going on there, and I'm going to take this box and make that white. Let's take that percentage back up to 100%. I don't know, maybe I need to make this darker. It's there. Can't really differentiate very well between those two. Let me just move this off to the side. Yeah, that's showing that it's D's. Let's do another color. Make that dark. Why is that not applying? Should be showing up here. It's in the frame. Oh, there it's in the frame. Sorry, I had it outside the frame, so the frame was on top. That's what was causing my issues. Pull that back on top and make sure that's centered. And I think it might look nice if we kind of push that up into this space. Might look kind of cool. Maybe we take this mask here again and we could pull it down a little bit more to that area. Take that and move it down in here, and let's do our background rectangle. I'm going to push that down to the bottom a little bit more, and I'm going to tweak that back a little bit. That'd be so dark. That way we have some elements that are full screen across the way, and we have our main thing there. So what we could do is we could create, I don't know, maybe like a call to action in this area, maybe like a reservation form or something like that. Maybe we want to build out some boxes here. I can drag out 3 of these. Oops. And they are not equally sized, so grab these. Distribute evenly there. Move it up so spacing. Now, one good trick you can do is I'm going to go there to there, and I'm going to move that back over to there, and then let's do that again. Okay, that looks better. I typically like to have my spacing, you know, if it's the side here and the middles all be the same. And so I'm going to pull that in just a little bit more and then do another one of these. Distribute horizontally. It's getting a little better. Let's import in those other images, and if we just drop them on the top now, it should just plunk them where we need them to go. Let's see here, we got like this pool one, and we can just drop that there, and we have the bed one right there, and then we have an exterior shot that I grabbed and put that right here. So maybe we want to grab some text on each of those. So let's take, and I'm going to fill out the space here. We can grab some lorem ipsum, if you remember, to kind of fill some of that content. So I could go through there. Now that looks pretty big. And so I'm going to go back to our regular. And let's take our size and go down to, I don't know, let's see what 12 looks like. So hopefully you guys are kind of getting the gist of how that goes. I think I need to get some alignment. There it is. Fix a little bit better. Okay, so that's just going to fill in the text to that spot. I'm going to, no, obviously, oops. Obviously we would want to have original content here. And if this is your design, then you're going to want to make sure you fill it in accordingly, right? And we could just grab some other paragraphs or something. Oops. Grab another chunk of text there, just to kind of break it up so it doesn't look like lorem ipsum in every single one of them. And I'll grab another chunk of text there. All right, so let's go grab one more image here. Let's look up hotel. Maybe this is a good one here. Download this one. And let's have maybe like a half page image that comes right about there. Okay, and I'm gonna Figma and file, place image, and this one is our latest one we've brought in, and I'm just gonna dump it right there. We can grab some more, like another body of text, and I'm gonna put that right in this space. Now again, it's really important to make sure that you're aligning your content. And let me talk on that here in a second. So one thing I'd probably want to do, see how the image isn't really aligning that text. I'd probably want to bring the image up to match that. And you can see when I brought that up, all these lines are appearing and disappearing for alignment. Be consistent in your alignment, okay? So the space that goes from here to here, I probably should have in between each of these elements, right? Probably like in there, the space on the sides, stuff like that. They all line really nicely. You don't be afraid to use some headings. I pull that down and I type out, welcome to, what's the name of this, Choice Hotels or something. And we'll make that maybe as big as the, we'll go back up to that 22. I'll make that semi-bold. Let's look here. So we have our content there. It may not be a bad idea to build some kind of footer in to this design. So I'm going to come over here, drag a rectangle across the way. Now our artboard, I can go back in and we could resize our artboard, right? There's our rectangle going up. I'll pull it back up to here. But we can go back to our artboard if we so need. And just click on the frame and shorten it up or redrag another one or whatever you guys need to do. But let's put a footer in there, and you can see how our footer is now kind of across the way. In this area, we'd probably want to have some kind of social media or copyright, maybe some contact information, something along those lines. And then probably color code it to the rest of the content. I think actually I'm going to lighten that up even a little bit more. I think that looks a little bit cleaner there. And then this thing we could, let's go grab a color. We could eyedrop. Maybe we want it to be, something big. It may not be a bad idea to just kind of repeat some of these colors throughout. So maybe like on our bottom of our images here, I could pull in a bar and then grab and eyedrop that color or something like that. That might be a good way to tie that back in. Let's see, zoomed in here. That is not aligned very well, so I want to align that just right. Get it along those edges where it needs to go. Could do something like that. And you can see, whoops. Grab that rectangle and drag over a copy holding down the Alt key, if you remember, and then I did a Control D to copy it. And that way I'm kind of getting that yellow in other places. We could also take and put something here underneath home if we wanted to keep that type of styling throughout the page. So I could take that there. I don't know, maybe we want to use that other color instead of the yellow. But it's really up to you guys on what you want to do. It's good to repeat color, repeat your fonts, be consistent, do, in different areas. Honestly, if I was doing this all the way, I'd probably bump all these down and have like a form they could fill out to do their reservations. But one thing that I recommend a lot of students, if you're young and you haven't done a lot of designing before, maybe go out to a site like Theme Forest or something like that, and go look for stuff. So maybe we want to look for a hotel, site. Now, you'd never want to actually download one of these and use it. You'd obviously fail the assignment in the class, but you can look at some of the different themes that people have put together and just see if they inspire certain designs. So they're using a full width image with their navigation across the top, and you can see, well, they have different options for this theme. Maybe I click on this one and I could be like, oh yeah, I really like this design that they've got with their menu bar all the way edge to edge. Looks like they've got their wrapper down here, but they're using a full width across for their bar over there and their navigation. And so again, look through these, let some of these different layouts inspire your design, and then use a tool like Figma to design them. Now, Figma does have a lot of great resources. If you just look up Figma help, there's a lot of good tutorials on how to do all kinds of things. It's not a bad idea to look through, maybe they're getting started, or look through some of their design, how to do images and shapes. So if you want to do something and you don't know how to do it, look through here, okay? Because I want you guys designing your mock-ups and what your final project is going to look like, and then we expect you to build that. And so if your final product looks different than this design, then you're probably going to lose some points. But really we do this because it's a lot easier to drag in an image and move it around with a mouse than it is to try to code it, and then within code move things around the page and realize it doesn't look good or you don't like it. And so make sure you're using a graphical editor like Figma to do this or that. Now, the last thing you need to know to turn this in, you're going to want to come over to the share button. We'll go to share, and then you can see here anyone with the link can view it. I could have edit or whatever, and I just hit copy link. And so now I'm going to go open an incognito, and I will paste that link in there. So I'm not logged in, it doesn't know, and you can see the design now, right? And you can see my other mouse here where I'm working on it. And that's one of the great things about Figma is you can work on a project with another person. And that's part of the power of Figma is you can have multiple people working on a design. Another big part of this, now again, don't publish to the community, just do an invite, anyone with the link, grab that code and send it over. But another cool thing you can do is if you have multiple pages, you can do a prototype where if I click on home, I might over here to the side have another frame or artboard, and when I click on home, I can do this this prototyping where I can say if I click here, then go to this page, and if I click on home on this page, then come back to this page. And then you can hit play, and it's not going to really play right now because I don't have everything tied together, but if I did, it would act just like a real website, as if you were bouncing around page to page, when in fact it's just 100% just visual, and you drew everything on here, and it's not an actual functioning page yet, but it would act just like it, so you can kind of get a feel for how your website would look and react and things like that. So pretty cool tool. Figma's a great little free resource, especially if you're a student and want to use your student email address to sign up underneath the Figma education side of things. Anyways, good luck with everything, and let me know if you have questions.